Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Dunford, do you believe a no first use policy improves our ability to deter conflict, and would it be your best military advice to adopt such a policy?
No, thank you, Senator. I think the current policy is one that complicates an adversary's decision-making process, and I wouldn't recommend any change to simplify an adversary's decision-making calculus. I also can envision several circumstances where we would not want to remove that option from the President in the future, and I could certainly talk about that in a classified venue, but I absolutely believe the current policy is the right policy.
Thank you. As you know, those who favor reducing the size of our nuclear forces, they often argue that a non-nuclear capability can be substituted for nuclear weapons without diminishing our ability to credibly hold targets at risk, deter adversaries, and assure our allies. A report released last September by the Global Zero Group repeatedly makes this argument and claims that cyber weapons, in particular, can be substituted for nuclear weapons. Do you think cyber operations, their effects, and their ability to deter hostile activity is comparable to nuclear weapons, or are these extremely different capabilities? And is this idea of direct substitution unwise?
Senator, I don't believe that cyber capabilities can be substituted for nuclear capabilities, and I think we need to be very careful to maintain a safe, effective, and credible nuclear deterrent on its own. We, as you know, have looked at this through more than 3 or 4 administrations in a row. We've carefully looked at what does the nation need to do what I described in my opening statement as the most important mission in the Department of Defense, and that is to deter a nuclear war. And we've concluded that the current construct of the triad with a robust nuclear command and control capability is the most effective way to deter a nuclear war. And it is also the most effective way to raise the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons by any potential adversary.
And you mentioned that in order to maintain that safe deterrent, we must follow the advice of all previous administrations, both Republican and Democrat, all previous military leaders, that we maintain that triad?
Yes, Senator, and I have participated in 2 nuclear posture reviews since I've been in this assignment and been exposed to the wide body of analytic work that was behind those 2 nuclear posture reviews that came to the very same conclusion in 2 different administrations, and it's very consistent with the military advice that I provided on both occasions.
Thank you. Moving to a different topic, late last year, General, you characterized the situation in Afghanistan as a stalemate. In the time since, we've seen some indications that negotiations with the Taliban are showing signs of progress. Do you believe the South Asia strategy is working? And what is your view of the current security situation?
Well, thanks, Senator. First, I think we're all cautiously optimistic that there is, for the first time, serious inroads made into reconciliation. And Ambassador Khalilzad just completed a round of negotiations with the Taliban. He's back in Washington, D.C. I'll have an opportunity to speak to him later today, and I think we'll see him tomorrow morning. And we're encouraged, and I can tell you on behalf of Secretary Shanahan, everything that we are doing now in the military space, led by General Miller on the ground, is in support of Ambassador Khalilzad's efforts. I think on the ground, by and large, the general strategic situation has not changed, but General Miller has incorporated elements of the strategy to increase the pressure on Taliban leadership, and we do believe that some of that pressure has contributed to the fact that the Taliban are now at the peace table for the first time since the war began.
What conditions on the ground do you believe are necessary if we're going to be able to see any kind of progress in discussions that we have with the Taliban? Can you be specific in this setting?
Yeah, first, to put pressure on the Taliban, we need to continue to provide enabling capability to the Afghan forces. That's been in the form of train, advise, and assist. We have the right leaders at the right place to assist the Afghans, and we're also providing combat enabling capability, aviation, intelligence, logistics support as well. And then most importantly, though, Senator, on the ground is a counterterrorism capability, remembering that the reason why we're in Afghanistan is to prevent attacks against the American people in the homeland. And so the combination of support for the Afghans to allow them to put pressure on the Taliban also creates the conditions for us to have an effective counterterrorism presence in South Asia to secure the American people.
Thank you. I think it's important to always consider conditions on the ground and always keep in mind what our goal and mission is. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.